You've probably checked your pocket change 1,000 times without a second thought. But here's the thing. There are certain quarters out there, ordinary in appearance, but extraordinary in value. Not just the kind you toss in a tip jar or feed into a parking meter, but coins with a story. Coins that slipped through the cracks of minting perfection. Coins that now sit at the crossroads of history, rarity, and serious collector interest. Today, we're digging into three fascinating U.S. quarters that might just be hiding in plain sight. Whether you're a longtime collector or someone who stumbled across a curious coin in your drawer, these are pieces worth knowing about. Let's start with a quarter from 1980, an unassuming year that holds a surprising number of secrets in the world of coinage. At first glance, the 1980 Washington quarter doesn't scream rarity. It's not from an era known for silver content. It's not particularly old, and it was minted in high numbers. So why are collectors still chasing certain examples from this year like hidden treasure? Well, the answer lies in the details, those small, often overlooked features that transform a common coin into something exceptional. First, a bit of background. By 1980, the U.S. Mint had long transitioned away from silver coinage. Clad compositions, copper-nickel over a pure copper core, had become a standard for quarters since 1965. The Washington quarter, originally introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had settled into a familiar design by the 1980s. The obverse featured Washington's bust, the reverse the heraldic eagle, and the entire design had seen only subtle refinements over the decades. But 1980 brought with it a notable shift: the widespread adoption of the P mint mark on coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Before 1980, coins from the Philly Mint usually carried no mint mark at all. That changed in this year, and the 1980 P quarter became the first of its kind to officially display a P. For collectors focused on transitional features and mint mark changes, that alone makes it notable. But the real treasure lies in the errors and varieties. One of the most sought-after variations from this year is the double die obverse, where doubling is visible on the date and the lettering, most notably the word liberty and in God we trust. These aren't subtle defects. With the right lighting and a decent magnifying glass, the doubling pops, and if you've got one in decent condition, you might be holding a small fortune. Another anomaly tied to 1980 quarters is the filled P mint mark. In some cases, the P is partially or entirely filled with dye grease, leading to a deformed or missing appearance. While not as valuable as dramatic double dyes, this kind of dye variety still commands attention and moderate premiums, especially in uncirculated condition. Then there's the matter of condition. A circulated 1980 P quarter might still only be worth face value unless it has one of these specific errors or varieties. But when we move into higher grades, particularly Mint State 65 and above, the story changes. An MS 67 1980 P quarter with strong strike and eye appeal can fetch between $400 and $600 at auction. PCGS has reported several sales in that range, and the prices only go up when combined with known error varieties. Speaking of auctions, one of the highest profile 1980 P quarters to hit the market was a deeply lustrous MS 67 Plus that went for just over $1,000 in a heritage sale. That kind of number isn't common, but it proves that even a modern clad coin, in the right condition and with the right features, can attract serious bids from seasoned collectors. Beyond the technicalities, what makes the 1980 quarter compelling is the way it straddles a shift in modern coinage. It represents a post-silver era where quality control wasn't quite as tight, yet interest in errors and mint variations was gaining steam. It's a coin that lives in that fascinating space where modern meets meaningful, where a simple change like a mint mark can mark the beginning of a new chapter in numismatic history. And here's something even seasoned collectors find surprising. The 1980 quarter has shown up in a small number of off-metal error cases. A few examples struck on planchets intended for other denominations, most commonly dimes, have surfaced. These errors are extremely rare, but if authenticated, they can pull in thousands. Imagine the shock of seeing a quarter-size coin with a noticeably thinner rim or lighter weight and discovering it's been struck on a dime planchet. That's the thing with coins from the 1980s. People underestimate them. They're modern, plentiful, and easy to overlook. But all it takes is one variety, one rare condition, or one manufacturing anomaly to change everything. A drawer full of pocket change could be worth a few bucks or a few thousand, depending on what's inside. So next time you see a 1980 quarter, look closer. Is the P filled in oddly? Is there noticeable doubling on the date or letters? Does the coin look suspiciously shiny or perfectly struck? These are the clues that tell you you're not just holding 25 cents, you're holding a slice of history. Maybe even payday. All right, that's just one of the fascinating quarters we're covering today. The next one goes back even further, to a time when the U.S. Mint was still settling into its modern rhythm. And this next quarter, minted in 1971, has a story all its own. It's not just about age, it's about a hidden variety that most people never notice, but once you do, you'll never look at early 70s change the same way again. Let's dive into it. By 2004, the U.S. Mint was deep into one of its most ambitious and culturally resonant programs ever, the 50 State Quarters Initiative. It started in 1999 and brought a fresh design to the reverse of the Washington quarter every 10 weeks, celebrating each state in the order it joined the Union. For casual collectors and the general public, it was a chance to engage with coinage in a way they hadn't in decades. But among the sea of billions of quarters struck during that era, a few stand out, and one of them is the 2004 Michigan State Quarter. Now, let's be clear. On the surface, the Michigan Quarter doesn't scream rarity. Over 233 million were minted at Philadelphia, and more than 225 million at Denver. That's a lot of quarters. Most are still floating around in change, passed over without a second thought. But as with many modern issues, the devil and the value is in the details. The design itself is simple but striking. The reverse features a stylized outline of the state of Michigan with the Great Lakes surrounding it, along with the inscriptions Great Lakes State and a mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. It's a clean, symbolic representation that resonated with Michiganders and collectors alike. But it's the errors and condition rarities that truly elevate this coin into something special. One of the most notorious Michigan quarter errors is the extra tree variety. This is not an officially recognized mint variety, but it's a well-documented die gouge or die clash error that appears like an extra tree or branch on the reverse, specifically among the lines that represent the landmass. Collectors began spotting this anomaly shortly after the coin's release, and it caught fire in the error collecting community. Since then, several different extra tree placements have been reported, each one slightly different depending on the die clash location. Coins with these dramatic die errors have sold online for $50 to $100, sometimes more if the coin is in near mint condition or has been third-party graded. They're not common, but they're not one-of-a-kind either. So for collectors, the trick is finding examples that are not only visually strong, but also well-preserved. Then there are the high-grade mint state coins, your MS-67S and higher. Most Michigan quarters, even those saved from circulation, top out around MS-64 or MS-65. That's due to a combination of weak strikes, nicks from coin-to-coin contact during high-speed production, and just plain bad storage. But finding one in MS-68 condition, that's the jackpot. PCGS has certified only a handful of 2004 D or 2004 P Michigan quarters at that lofty level. And when they come to auction, they do not go cheap. For instance, a 2004 P Michigan quarter graded MS-68 by NGC sold at auction for over $1,000. That's not due to a unique variety or an error, just pure condition rarity. For a coin that most people overlook entirely, that's a serious premium driven by sharp collectors hunting population topper coins for registry sets. There's also strong interest in proof versions of this coin, especially the silver proofs. Remember, in 2004, the Mint produced special collector sets that included 90% silver versions of the state quarters. The Michigan Silver Proof with its deep cameo contrast and clean, mirrored fields, can go for $10 to $30 in PR69 DCM, and a perfect PR70 DCM can climb as high as $80 to $150, especially if it's from a low-population grading submission. But wait, there's more. Some collectors have reported off-center strikes, partial collar errors, and even wrong planchet strikes for the Michigan quarter. These are rare and usually come from Philadelphia Mint examples, where the sheer volume of coins being churned out sometimes overwhelmed quality control. A Michigan quarter struck on a nickel planchet or one with an extreme off-center strike could be worth hundreds, especially if authenticated by a top-tier grader. Whether you're a seasoned collector building a registry set or someone who's just curious about what's jingling in your pocket, these coins show that value lies in the details. The history, the imperfections, the context, and most importantly, the eye of the collector. So next time you're sifting through quarters, whether you're searching a roll, sorting through a flea market, or just dumping out the cup holder in your car, take a second look. The next hidden gem might be right in your hand.